The tip for this week was prompted by a question a student of mine had. They had seen the video on seaming horizontal edges, but they were seaming seed stitch and were having difficulty seeing where to line them up. Now, whenever you seam any horizontal edge, it doesn't matter what the stitch pattern is. You are seaming using the stitch in the row below the bind-off edge. So in this case, I've got a purl stitch here, a knit stitch here, purl, knit, and so on. And I will be going into the center of those stitches. Now, hopefully, I have done my seed stitch so that the pattern will continue on either side of the seam. And that means that if I've got a purl here, I should have a knit here. And that is the case in this pattern that I've got going here. Now, to get started, and this can be kind of hard to see, I'm going to go into the first stitch I can see, which is a purl, and I'm going to come out through the next stitch, which is a knit. And then on the other side, I should be going into a knit. Yes, there's the knit, and there's the purl. So this means that my pattern will be continued. Okay, I'm going to pull that, then I'm going to go into the knit and the purl on this side. Oh, God, don't you love yarn tails? And then into the purl and the knit on this side. And I'm just going to keep up this rhythm. It can be kind of hard to see. You might have to kind of smush them a little bit. Okay, there's my knit stitch right there, knit. And then here's my knit and my purl on this side. Ugh. And one more, a knit and a purl on this side. And if you have trouble identifying a knit and a purl stitch, I have done videos on stitch anatomy and how to recognize those. Now I just continue on until I'm all done, and I pull tight, pull the seaming thread tight, and there's my seam. And the stitch pattern is going to continue from one side to the next. Now, this is also important if I'm doing something like cables. And I've done two little tiny cable swatches, and let's pretend like this is the shoulder of a garment. And I would need to line these guys up. Now, in this case, I've got 3 purl stitches and then 4 knit stitches. So I'm going to find my first purl stitch over here, and it's my selvage stitch, which is ugly. I'm going to go into that purl stitch, come out into the next purl stitch, do the same on the other piece, and a little harder to see, purl, purl. Those are the, this needle's pointy, so I'm going to be splitting the yarn a bit. Okay, there's that. Then into the purl, purl. That brings up a good point. When you're seaming, don't use a sharp needle because it can cause you problems. Purl, purl. And then from a purl into my first cable, that's a knit. From my purl to my first cable, which is a knit, and I continue on in this fashion. Now I'm doing knit, knit, and knit, knit, and there you go. And when I pull this tight, I should get a nice clean seam. And that's how this is going to look at the shoulder. My cables are going to be lined up at the top. Okay? Now I'll have photographs of these in the website.